Good morning. I've been having fun this week trying to look at human interest stories in young men who were drafted into the NFL here in the 2021 NFL Draft. And each day, I've been wanting to look this week at one of those stories. This morning, I want to look at Trey Lance. He was drafted by the San Francisco 49ers. What an interesting young man. He stands at 6'4", 226 pounds. He's only 20 years old. He actually is a very good guy, someone who's made good grades and hadn't gotten into trouble. I started learning more about him, and he grew up in a small town called Marshall, Minnesota. His great dream was about playing football in the NFL. His father played professional football in the Canadian League. But when it came along, he had played in such a small high school there in Marshall, Minnesota, and he was so good that usually the score had already run up at halftime. He never got to play the second half. And so people didn't get to see him play as much because they pulled him out of the game. They were already ahead 50-0 at halftime. So there were no offers from Big Ten schools. That's where he wanted to go. But there was an offer from North Dakota State University. And so that's where he went. And again, he was just incredible. In the end, he did get drafted, as I said, by the San Francisco 49ers, number 3 overall in the draft. Unbelievable. It turns out that when he was growing up, he went to Holy Redeemer Catholic School. He is a person of strong faith. And it was interesting that before the draft, he zoomed in to Mrs. Clay's second grade class back at Holy Redeemer. You can only imagine that in a small town of Marshall, Minnesota, in a small Catholic school, Holy Redeemer, they now have an alum who is going to be drafted into the NFL. I mean, that was big news. He took the time to have a Zoom call back to the kids there in the second grade class. And he spent about 30 minutes on the Zoom call where they could ask him any kind of questions they wanted to know. What did the kids in the second grade class at Holy Redeemer School want to know? What is your favorite memory of going to school here? The 8th grade carnival, he said. What was the first thing you do each morning? He said, the first thing I do is I read a book. Right now I'm reading a book entitled Blink. But then I watch a sermon online. So what's your favorite prayer? He said, my favorite prayer is Hail, Holy Queen. So what's the most strange thing about your new job? Trey said, well, I have to get x-rays and MRIs over my entire body. It's the strangest thing that's what you have to do to get a job. Are you better at running or at throwing? Trey said, I feel like I got an NFL scout in here somewhere. He said, I guess we're going to have to let them decide what they think is best about me. So what's your number? Well, my jersey's number 5. My phone number, I'm not going to tell you. So then he had a question for the kids. He said, do you still play foursquare at recess? And they said, yes, we do. And he said, I'm going to come back and play foursquare with you. The crowd went wild. He would come back to Holy Redeemer and play foursquare with them. I bet he does it. But then Trey turned and he wanted to give them some advice. And he said, you don't know what somebody right next to you is going through at home. So asking people how are they doing might feel weird at the beginning, but your positive energy can change your life and the lives of others. Trey understands that. You never know what's going on in somebody else's life. And as a child of God, we're supposed to care about each other. And if we will care about each other and what's going on in each other's lives and be there to support each other, it truly changes someone else's world and changes our own. It's a good message for second graders, but it's a good message for all of us. We don't know what's going on in the life of the person right next to us. But if we can look beyond ourselves into the life of somebody else and truly be empathetic and care and ask them how they're doing, well, let me tell you, it's going to bless them and it's going to also help us. Trey Lance, I have a feeling he is well grounded in his faith and he is going to do fine in the NFL. Have a great day.